Welcome to In the Den, your inside look with the Fresno Grizzlies. And we have a jam-packed show for you because it is Tequila Fest week. Ludacris, Yin Yang Twins, Juvenile, Nina Sky, all here Saturday night at Chukchansi Park. But the Grizzlies had a great homestand thanks to you, California. And we're going to chat with one of our newest Grizzlies, Jacob Hinderleiter, and get a inside look as what it's like to journey to the professional baseball. But first, let's talk about a great homestand as the Grizzlies took 4-6 from the Modesto Nuts. It was a big week at home for the Grizzlies as they hosted the division-leading Modesto Nuts in the first home game since April 4th for Robert Kalaz, who helps trigger a 4-run fifth inning in the opener in front of 4,000 kids on making the great day at Chukchansi Park. A 2-run single for Kalaz would give the Grizzlies a 5-2 lead in the fifth, and Fresno would add on as Kelvin Hidalgo came to the plate and ripped a solo home run later in the inning, making it 6-3 as Hidalgo knocked out his third homer of the season. Fresno would win that game 7-3 as the Grizzlies get the longest start of the season from Brian Mena, who went 6 1/3 and struck out 3. Grizzlies would take the series opener against the Modesto Nuts by the final of 7-3 on Tuesday. They knocked out 12 hits, tying the season high at that point. On Wednesday, the Grizzlies got some offense. Doubled down the line by Nolan Clifford would bring the Grizzlies within one, a 5-4 ball game after they were trailing 4-0 and 5-2. And then when things looked like they would be in more trouble, Clifford took advantage of Modesto falling asleep and stole home on Yaker Reyes' walk. That tied the game at 5, but the game would go to extra innings, and Modesto ended up winning it 6-5 as they took advantage of the automatic runner. Fresno, though, 8 more hits in the ballgame, so the offense was moving, and the offense carried it over to the biggest output of the season on Thursday. 12 runs, and it was triggered by the extra base hit, a big double from Kevin Fitzer that got the Grizzlies out in front. It was a part of a 4-run first inning. They'd add 2 in the second, and then Robert Kalaz hit his first home run. Got up on the home run alley. Grizzlies would pour it on in that one as they won 12-2 on Thursday night, taking 2 of the first 3 games. A solid outing from Ismael Luciano, who picked up his second win of the season. It was Sean Sullivan who started the game, but Luciano went 4 innings in relief. Carlos Torres threw a scoreless ninth as the Grizzlies set a season high for runs with 12. Also tied that season high for the third time in hits with 12. But then on Friday, the bats really cranked up the hits, but it was the gloves first. Robert Kalaz in center field, trailing by a run, robs Matt Ellis of extra bases and keeping the game a 1-run deficit in the bottom of the third. The offense, as I said, 15 hits, and it was Kevin Fitzer again with the bases loaded, driving a 2-run single to give Fresno the lead in the bottom of the third, and they would never look back. The Grizzlies on their way to 15 hits, which would be a new season high. Kelvin Hidalgo would add an RBI triple to left center field, going to the deep part of the park that would score Tommy Hotvey. Grizzlies would add on a run in the 4th inning and end up winning this one 8-1. 15 hits again as Marcos Herrera looked really good in back of Jackson Cox, who threw 3 innings and only allowed a run. Herrera 4 scoreless innings and struck out 4 in his home debut as a Fresno Grizzly. And Fresno, in front of the largest crowd in the MILB on Friday, wins it 8-1. Over 10,000 people for Star Wars night. Then it was Dino Nugget night, and Everett Catlett pushed into the spot start. Catlett was excellent as Brody Breck was scratched from the start just minutes before scheduled first pitch. Catlett ends up going 4 innings and did not allow an earned run, struck out 4, and then he got some run support in the bottom of the 4th as Blake Wright doubles home Jacob Hinderleiter. The Grizzlies tied it there. They would go on and score 1 run later in the ball game. An RBI ground out by Hinderleiter made it a 2-1 victory. The bullpen was fantastic. Fisher Jameson with 2 innings of relief, Luke Jewett with 1, and then Nathan Blasek 2 innings for the save. On Sunday, a bit of a messy game, but the Grizzlies fought back down 2 in the bottom of the 8th. Francisco Garcia with the bases loaded squibs one under the glove of Austin St. Laurent. 2 runs would score to tie it, and that would end up forcing extra innings, but the Grizzlies left too many guys on base. 15 left on base on Sunday, and both of the games they lost were in extra innings, but they still take 4 of 6 from Modesto in the home series. Welcome back to In the Den, and I'm joined by Jacob Hinderleiter, first baseman, third baseman, DH, and here you're learning outfield as well. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You're starting to get real comfortable. Colorado Rockies prospect, unsigned out of college, and you were ready to move on with life. Tell me about those last couple of months, and what kind of whirlwind was it like once you got the call to sign, once you signed, and then when you're like, hey, I'm going to go play professional baseball?
Yeah, so I played my last college season at Clemson last year. Really enjoyed it. Felt like I played pretty well to hopefully get a shot at playing pro ball afterward. Stayed in Clemson for the summer and kind of waited for the draft and, waited to see what was going to happen. And once that process kind of passed and nothing happened, I decided, I was ready to be done with baseball and was happy with how my career went and was really satisfied with how I played and the relationships that I made. So I was ready to, move on to the next thing, and went through the fall, finished my last semester of college and did the whole job search thing, which was a lot of work. But Thanksgiving came around and got a call from one of the Rocky scouts that I talked to during my time at Davidson. And he said that there was an opportunity for me. And so, without a doubt, took it and headed back to Clemson and started training for spring training.
So once you got ready and you get to camp, it's still a lot of unknown. I think people sometimes assume like once you made it and your path is set. What was that preparation like from once you got into camp in Arizona and then opening the season down in Arizona waiting for a team to be assigned to you?
Yeah, just like you said, it kind of feels like you've made it, and I enjoyed it for a few days, but knew that, I had a lot of work to do and felt like I proved myself at the college level, but, obviously at the professional level, hadn't proven anything yet. So just tried to do everything I could to put myself in a position to compete and just be able to play as well as I can. And then went through spring training, felt like I played as well as I could have and wanted to, and made a lot of adjustments there and got to know a lot of people and met the coaches and kind of understood the philosophy of baseball that we're trying to play here. And so once I kind of got that understanding and got some ABs under my belt, I started to get more and more comfortable. And then camp broke, stayed in Arizona for about 2 weeks and was there for extended spring training and felt like I continued to play well, and then got the call on Easter to head up to Fresno, which I was super excited about.
Well, talk about that's a great Easter present, by the way, to get the call and get assigned. Talk about philosophy of the team, and I think everybody thinks about, okay, well, how does my career fit into that, and what kind of pro do I want to be? You played shortstop at Davidson, then you moved to second for a little bit. At Clemson, you showed up as a first baseman, moved back to short. You're doing a little bit of it all for the Grizzlies. What kind of career are you looking at? What sort of things do you want you as a professional baseball player to embody?
Yeah, the number one thing is to just try to add as much value to the team as possible on both sides of the ball. So defensively, just making myself as versatile as possible, getting reps at different positions and just kind of exposing myself to different parts of the game. Hadn't played outfield until spring training, which was interesting. It was a fun conversation to have with some of the coaches. They had asked if I'd ever played outfield before, and I asked them, like, do you want the answer I'm supposed to give you, or do you want the truth? And so I was just like, look, I've never played outfield before, but I know I can do it. And so got some reps there. And offensively, it's just having competitive at bats as consistently as you can is always going to be the main priority.
You played high school football in Honolulu. How much does that just natural athleticism, and you are an athlete, if people don't understand that yet, you can run, you're strong, you're agile, but how much does that athleticism you feel give you the confidence to go play all those different positions?
Yeah, it definitely helps knowing that, you have the range and the arm to play anywhere on the field, where, some positions require more of other strengths, where, as an outfielder, you need to have speed and a good arm. And so being able to stick anywhere on the field is, something I take a lot of pride in, and I'm thankful that I can provide in different ways for the team in that way.
We have another guy on the team who played football in college for a little bit. You have that football background. At what point did you close that page and you say, hey, I'm a baseball player now?
Yeah, my sophomore year in high school was my last year of high school football. It was time for me to, start playing baseball in the summers, which was going to be my best chance at playing college baseball, which is something that I decided I really wanted to do. And so I wasn't playing at my high school. I didn't play at my high school until my senior year. And so I needed to get reps in the summer to get exposure and just at bats and gain experience. And so not being able to be at school for football workouts in the summer was kind of what led to that decision. It was a tough one. But I also like to say that Tua kind of ended my football career. We played against him in my last football game, and he kind of ran all over us. So it was fun to watch and kind of a cool thing to say.
You're like, I'll go do this instead.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of saw what he was doing. I was like, I'm not sure I'm able to do that, so I'm going to stick to baseball.
I think that's a great example, though, of everybody has a different path, and especially in minor league baseball, people don't understand how different the journeys are sometimes to just get here. And your path is a lot of miles. I mean, you started in Honolulu for high school, but you'd go play summer on the East Coast. How did that come about, and how did that prepare you for not only college, but what you're doing now?
Yeah, my family made a lot of sacrifices to, put me in the best position possible to chase my dream of playing college baseball. And so I went to Showcase in Florida my sophomore year, and was approached by one of the East Cobb teams there. And that's kind of how that got set up, where I ended up playing in the East Coast. And I also have family in Atlanta, so that kind of made that decision easier. And I knew that was going to be a really good opportunity to help me get exposure and gain experience, and hopefully get an offer to play on the East Coast somewhere.
Well, we talked about you coming and signing out of Clemson, but you played most of your college baseball at Davidson. Everybody knows Davidson for Steph Curry, especially here on the West Coast. But what was that program like? It's a great academic school. What was the baseball like there?
Yeah, that was one of the main priorities for me too, was the academic piece. It was an important part of that decision. Davidson was the perfect place for me out of high school. Really enjoyed the experience that I had there. The coaches were awesome, helped me develop into the player that I am. I didn't show up as physical as I am now, so that part of the puzzle was huge at Davidson. And then just being able to get reps there was really important and a big part of my development too.
Your family's got to love that you're a little bit closer. It's only a 6-hour flight versus, what would that be, 12 to the East Coast?
12, yeah. Yeah.
Have they been able to make it out yet and see you yet?
Yeah, they came to spring training. We spent some time in Arizona, and hopefully they can make their way out to Fresno soon.
Awesome. Talking with Jacob Hinderleiter, first baseman, third baseman, shortstop. You have assimilated very quickly onto the team. And I know you said that first trip in San Jose wasn't quick enough for you.
Yeah.
What has been the change or the adjustment that you had to make even from spring training until now?
Yeah, knowing that, we're all here for a reason, and we all have our strengths, and we just need to play to them. I felt like I was kind of, trying to be a player that I wasn't. And so that's kind of what led to the struggles in the beginning of the season. But, just understanding that competing is the most important thing, and not trying to do too much are always going to be huge.
Well, one of the things that you have done, especially in the last week, is deliver in 2-out and 2-strike situations. And Friday night, it was a big crowd, 10,000 people. You guys came up, and you were a part of it, but you're watching your teammates deliver 5 runs in, the first 5 innings, all after 2 outs. What is it about the approach with this group in particular and this team that you guys are producing so well in those situations?
Yeah, it's a really talented group. And, after the last 2 weeks, we just wanted to get back to, what we know we can do. And so just kind of taking the pressure off, being loose, being confident is all what kind of leads to those 2-out tough RBIs to get.
Well, sweet. Well, I think it takes a lot of character and a lot of toughness to be able to do that. So you mind if we do a couple of quick fire questions to help Rockies fans and Grizzlies fans get to know you a little bit better?
Let's do it.
All right, favorite movie?
Favorite movie? I'm going to go with Interstellar.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, Christopher Nolan, right?
Great movie.
Great catalog. That's a great movie with Matthew McConaughey and all that. Favorite baseball player growing up?
Favorite baseball player? Definitely Chipper Jones. Grew up a big Braves fan. So
Okay.
Throw it back a little bit.
A lot of Atlanta connections and very cool. If you had to eat one meal for the rest of the week, no changes, breakfast, lunch, dinner, what would that meal be?
I'm going to stick with what I've been going with so far. I'm going to go with a burrito.
Okay.
Been having a lot of Mexican food lately. It's been really good.
Well, you're in the perfect spot for that, right? It's a little bit different elevation. Favorite music or what artist is on your pregame playlist the most?
Pre-game playlist, definitely kind of slow it down with some reggae. So it's either going to be Bob Marley or Common Kings.
Okay, I like it. Jacob Hinderleiter, thanks so much for getting to know you a little bit.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Tequila Fest coming up on May 17th. The Agave Club is the most exclusive place to enjoy the concert as well as taste premium tequilas. So I'm with the president of the Grizzlies, Derek Franks, and the owners of Poppy's Mex Grill, Raul and Joe Gutierrez. Everybody, thank you guys so much for stopping by today and allowing us to talk about just the great brands that we're going to have on hand.
Thank you for letting us be a part of this. It's very exciting.
Well, talk to us a little bit, Derek, first on what went into the Agave Club and how can fans be involved?
Well, we're really thankful that Raul and Joe came to us about this idea. This is year 3 of Tequila Fest, and I think when we started this concept, it was really kind of a concert with a tequila theme as part of it, and we quickly realized that this community wanted a really great tequila experience as well, not just a concert with margaritas or palomas sold at the bars, right? And so as we've been really getting educated on tequila, and Poppy's longtime partners of ours at the Grizzlies came to us and said, hey, let us help with this, because obviously if you look at their bar and you follow them and they are connoisseurs and experts on tequila. And so they offered to come and help create an elevated experience at Tequila Fest. They're taking over the Kodiak Club. We're going to reimagine it as the Agave Club on Saturday night. And they're going to help us curate a really great experience that will be new this year at Tequila Fest.
Well, we love the food at Poppy's, but we also love your guys' expertise on tequila. So help us out with some of these brands. And what are tequila connoisseurs going to be most excited about on Saturday?
I mean, if I was a connoisseur, I'd be excited about everything. I think when you think about tequila, you just think about, smooth, great product. But I think so much about understanding agave and the product itself is about understanding that it doesn't have to be super sweet or super smooth. Sometimes you do want that more robustness that comes with the product that, really tells you, okay, this is authentic. This has not really been, mishandled or treated in a way, added sugars or additives are sort of a really big topic now in the tequila industry. And all these brands really do represent a good emphasis of that. I think if I was a connoisseur, I'd be excited about especially like Fortaleza, Mi Gente, Don Fulano, but Tequila Ocho and Comos are all great brands as well, plus all of our other partners that are going to be there. For me, it's exciting to see guests just walk around and be like, wow, that's special, that's different.
Well, talk to us about what's some of the difference. I look at Don Fulano right there, and I know that it has some unique things. The Don Fulano Blanco has some grilled peppers in it. What does that do to the taste and the flavor?
I mean, so Don Fulano is from the town of Tequila, so it's a fantastic distiller. The family does a lot of special things. They understand agave at its core because they started out as, first and foremost, agave growers before they were tequila makers. So one thing that makes them very special is that their product is very good. Their agave is of the highest quality. So when you talk about peppers, spiciness, minerality, they really emphasize on the pureness of the product and making sure when people taste it, they're like, wow, that's fantastic.
That's awesome. Joe, Mi Gente is a pretty popular brand.
Oh, yeah. It's one of my favorite brands. especially the one that's the Symphony #2. They just came out with that. I'm very excited for everyone to try that out. If you guys can get your hands on Symphony #1, keep that in your back pocket because it's very hard to find. But they do such an amazing way of growing their agave, especially the single-seeded agave that they've came out with. It was the Maestra Selección, which is phenomenal. They just been doing such a great job with like their spirits and how they grow their agave and how they actually respect just the process of it. And so I'm very excited for everyone to try that out.
And Raul, you said there's some special things about that company as well, right?
Yeah, so I mean, the first thing is that their master distiller is a woman. I think that's a very rare thing in our industry in the tequila world, and I think that's going to be a growing trend. That's going to be a transition of sort of the spirit, not the quality wise, but just seeing really women come up and actually being respected within the industry, which I think is amazing. Second, it's a B Corp. B Corp is a very rare, basically, attribute of a company because they're environmentally friendly all the way. Everything that they do there is sustainable down to just one little thing, and I won't say what it is, but the fact that they're a B Corp and they're recognized as a B Corp is amazing. So along with what she said, I mean, it's just amazing product. They're almost everything they do seems to be special.
That's awesome. Well, I was going to say, so for a tequila connoisseur, that is something that matters a lot. What about somebody who's trying to break in, and as they're coming out to the Agave Club this weekend, what do they need to be looking for as they're tasting some of these brands?
I think just keeping an open mind. I think a lot of times people, all they think about is, oh, that's super smooth. I always hear that all the time. I think first thing is, listen to the people that are tasting you on the product. Let them guide you. It's, agave spirits are a beautiful journey, and it's not just about, throwing it down. Maybe sip it, taste it, try to find the flavors that they're trying to describe. That's, it's no different than wine. I think it's become an expression of spirits where, we can actually slow down, take our time, and not make it all about the party. The party will always be there. We're always going to get there, trust me. But maybe just look at it as an experience first.
Well, Derek, talk about the party a little bit, the Agave Club, this premium experience. This is something that we wanted to open up for fans who are looking for an opportunity to delve into the tequila more. What do fans need to know who maybe already have tickets about how they can get into the Agave Club?
Yeah, I think one of the big questions we've had as we developed this partnership sort of midway in the planning stage, a lot of folks who are already planning to come to Tequila Fest are asking, can we upgrade, and can we upgrade into that experience? And so, if you have tickets already in VIP or GA, if you have a suite already, you are able to upgrade and get into the Agave Club. So that's a very simple process that our team will help you with. You can do that the day of the event as well. We're going to have the ability to upgrade, space permitting, of course. Right. We've got limited space. And I think the idea on Agave Club was also to create an intimate setting so that there was a one-on-one experience with each of the brands, with the folks from Poppies. They're going to help run the bar as well. And we're going to have, like Raul said, we're going to get to the party, but I think you're going to have an intimate setting to be able to really learn about these tequilas and have a great experience.
What was the trigger for you guys when you came up with this idea to have the Agave Club and have it exclusive? Why now and why this year? What are you guys excited about?
I think the tequila we go to Mexico quite often, and we just love everything about Mexico. We love bringing new brands and new tequilas that people can't really get in their hands at the moment, and just introducing just great agave to just the valley. And I think that when we talked about this, I was like, wow, we wish we can get some more brands and introduce more brands that people haven't really known about. And I think that I'm just excited for everyone to kind of try out these brands, especially up in the VIP lounge.
One last thing that everybody should know, Raul, what would it be?
Have fun. I really want this to be such a fun event. When the idea came up and, we brought it to Derek, we really were excited to come together. I mean, I don't think our original idea was even to be really there. I think our idea was really like, hey, let's improve and maybe make this more tequila forward. Let's expand the parameters of what the spirits are going to be there. And let's bring some of these brands that, sometimes don't have a voice in the Valley, not because they don't have the ability, but because they don't even know. And I think a lot of people that attend this event are, tequila isn't just a spirit, but it's actually a cultural attribute to Mexico and what Mexico is. Tequila is one of those things that doesn't come from the coastlines. It comes from the heart of Mexico, which is the center of Mexico. So many of us just go to the coast. We go to Puerto Vallarta or Cancun, and that's fantastic. But the true heart of Mexico is it's in the middle. It's in the center. It's in the valleys where where agave is being grown and tequila is being made, along with mezcal.
Well, that's awesome. Joe, Raul, thank you guys so much. Derek, thanks too.
Thank you.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of In the Den. Thanks for joining us. Hope you'll tune in next week as we get ready for a big homestand. It's Christian Fellowship Night presented by Van G Logistics with a fantastic drone show after the game. But before that, it's Growers Night presented by Stamalus Produce. And then we got Parker's birthday on the weekend. I'll talk with Conlon McGuire at next week's In the Den, get an inside look at our clubhouse. Thanks for watching, and go Grizzlies.